Make actions have consequences today on Dungeons and Taverns. Welcome to Dungeons and Taverns. I'm your host, Saul Sunforge. I've been a dungeon master for over 20 years, and it's my intentions to bring that experience to you. I provide tweaks to existing rules and homebrew rules. I provide character creation as well as free world maps and regional maps. The 4-year ongoing campaign on Roll20 is also provided, called the Dirty 20. I also host a segment called Tavern Talk, where questions provided by you, the audience, is asked in the comments section, and then a panel of DMs and players from all other systems come together and answer the questions that you provide. If tabletop isn't your thing, I also upload free play and role play specific, usually PC and video games. I originally started out as Smoker Joe Steelers over on Twitch, playing back in Madden 15. The next month is Madden 24's release, and I'm going to officially come out of retirement and upload segments to the channel for Madden 24. I don't really have time to promote my own channel, so if you could go ahead and subscribe, and if you like the channel, promote it for me, I would very much appreciate that support. Alright, now on to today's video. In tabletop and in gaming in general, I think players really enjoy having consequences. In general, as gaming has gone on, more and more consequences have been introduced into the fold, and that has caused some games to emerge that are even better than games that came before it. As a dungeon master, I feel the same is likewise in tabletop gaming, in that players enjoy and often demand to have consequences for events that take place, or things that result from their actions or their inactions. Don't forget that one. Their inactions also can lead to events taking place. The reason I do it is because it makes the world feel more alive. You know, people play this hobby to get away from their lives, and the more you can do to get them away from their lives for that little bit of time, the better, in my opinion. And so those little touches that you can do, like adding consequences for their actions, add nothing but extra texture to the world to make a convincing and compelling story. And the way you can implement this is very simple. Just give the players multiple choices. You know, they're going through a forest, and there's a well-trodden road, but it's flooded out. There's information that the road has been flooded out, and at some point the party's going to face that adversity. Or they can go up the high road, which is a longer route and it's more difficult. However, they won't have to deal with any of the flood. Well, there's consequences for both of those choices. And so as a dungeon master, or equivalent for whatever system that you're playing in, I just use dungeon master in general for every system. That's all. It has nothing to do with D&D specifically. But as a dungeon master, it's your job to facilitate these adventures. And what a lot of DMs do, I find, is something called the illusion of choice. They give you 2 or 3 or possibly more choices, right? And then they just move the goalpost of what they already planned. So this way, your choice already lines up with what they already had planned. So no matter what choice you make, you're going to that location. Now, that method is valid. I'm not going to poo-poo all over it. It saves a lot of time. It does. But I feel that there's a lot of times that as a dungeon master, you don't have to use that method, and you actually let whatever plays out play out, and you let it be a surprise to yourself. Because being the facilitator, the storyteller, the lore keeper, the dungeon master, you are also a player. And so, what fun is it for you if you already know everything that's going to happen because you've already planned it? You need to let more things happen that you don't plan. I feel like if you let things happen that you don't plan, that's where the magic happens in the game, truly. And if the players' actions don't have consequences, then why are they playing? The players are going to start doing absolutely everything to try to break the world because their actions don't mean anything. So they can pickpocket from whoever. Everybody in the world is just there for the players' amusement, right? But that's not the way you should run the campaign or the session. You should run your towns like each person is autonomous and they have their own reasonings and their own skills and their own passions, and you don't have to address every single person before you start playing because you'll go crazy that way. That's how I ended up crazy. But don't do that. Wait until the players interact, and then you give them these things. And then that's why you make your little lists and things like that, so this way you can make those players up on the spot. But I'm getting too far off the subject. If you want the players to feel like it's a living, really a breathing world where their actions actually matter, make their actions matter. The good deeds that they do, make NPCs and even the enemies speak of their good deeds. Make so that if your game has bards or storytellers or something of the equivalent, telling of their deeds far and wide. The bigger the deeds, the further away they're heard from, they're heard about. And then make peasants or even noblemen, depending on how renowned they are, come up to them and offer them aid or assistance, or to sell items or to give them items, free lodgings, healings, free accommodations at the inn. And these events don't take any planning from you really at all. You just add it in and you just remember the person's name offering these items, where they're from, and what they're offering, and that's really it. That's not much to ask, and it adds a whole layer to the onion of your world.